Hi, and welcome to Coastally Made Designs. My name is Terry. Thank you so much for joining me in this little slice of YouTube for episode number 3. So, I do want to address the fact that I didn't put out a video last week. My goal is to try and put out a video a week, but to be honest, I've kind of lost my knitting mojo a little bit in the last couple weeks. It's been really hot here, and then it got really cold, and sometimes life just happens. I didn't have enough progress on any of my whips, so I didn't want to make a video just for the sake of making a video. I wanted to get a little bit more done on a couple projects, and I have gotten some work done. I'm still not quite back in the groove yet, but it will come. So let's just get right into it. So the first thing that I finished that I want to show you guys is my oatmeal sweater. I don't know if you can see very well. I will put in a little clip of the sweater in just a little bit, but where the sweater was the last time we talked, I had misplaced my my shorty chiaogu needles that I use to knit my sleeves, and I really dislike the magic loop method. I don't know why, just having that extra cord on the side bugs me like crazy, but I will say there's definitely some validity to using it. I did manage to find them, and then I knit my sleeves. It got pretty cool here for about a week. It was rainy, it was dreary, it was the perfect time to knit. It was totally sweater weather, and I was just, I need to finish the sweater. I need to get it done because I really want to wear it. And I'm so glad that I did finish it. But something that I've noticed with this sweater is there's a bit of jog right here, right where the sleeve knitting starts. And apparently I knit at a much tighter gauge in short or like small diameter than I did in the body. So the sleeves are a little tight. I wouldn't say it's super noticeable, but that's what it is. And I did have this issue with a different sweater that I knit quite a while ago. It was the Tulip sweater by Melody Hoffman of Bee Mandarins. And I love that sweater so much. There's definitely a problem with that sweater, and it's 100% my fault. I got very impatient, and I knit the body probably about 2 inches too short. I followed the pattern maybe a little bit too literally. If you haven't noticed, I have a bit of a larger chest. And so that means I need more fabric to go over my chest and actually get down to a certain length. So I knit almost exactly to the sweater measurement, and it's a crop top. It's much too short. So I'm gonna see if I can find some dresses or skirts to wear that with, and if I can't, then I need to extend the body in it. But sort of the same thing. Sleeve is a little bit tight, but I knit that quite a while ago, so I forgot about that. And it happened again. So I really need to start taking notes. I do have a knitting journal that I have not been the best at keeping up to date, but this is definitely something that I need to document in that with my If you've ever watched Andrea Mowry's Q&A videos, they're amazing. I love her so much. She's just a wealth of knowledge. She talks about her magic numbers, and I think, that is such a smart thing to do as a knitter. Sometimes when you do larger projects like a sweater, if you don't do one every single month, you don't do the same style every single month, there can be quite a bit of time between one major project and the next where you forget all of these little tips and tricks that you learn when you're knitting your sweater. And I think having just one little encyclopedia of what makes your knit perfect would be a really great idea. So that's something I'm going to write down in my knitting journal after this video. The other thing with this sweater is I used the unnamed sweater as my gauge swatch, and either the yarn from this batch and the red one were just slightly different weights, which is entirely possible, which is entirely possible because it is a raw unspun yarn. There's probably definitely going to be some variation in the roving thickness, which I really didn't take into account before I started knitting the sweater. Or what is also very likely is that I tensioned this sweater a lot less heavily than the other one. So with the unspun roving, it is very fragile. If you pull it too hard, it will thin. If you pull it really drastically, it will just snap. And it's lovely because you can felt it back together. But I think when I knit the first one, that was the first time I'd ever knit in Plotulopi, or a yarn like that didn't have at least some sort of a ply, I may have been tight or like thinning it unintentionally. So then I would end up with a thinner weight yarn than what I ended up with this one, which is fine. It's so squishy, it's so lovely, it feels amazing in my hands. I'm really not too upset with that, but this sweater is the exact same length blocked and width in the body and in the bust as the unnamed sweater, but I'm going to put in a little video of the difference in how they fit. Excuse me, little frog in my throat just there. The unnamed sweater, which if you have any ideas for a name, I would really love to hear them in the comments. I do plan on having both of these sweaters patterned and sent to tech editors. So if I use the name that you've suggested for the unnamed sweater, I will absolutely send you a copy of it. It feels a bit strange to keep saying the unnamed sweater. It almost reminds me a little bit of Voldemort, is like, he who shall not be named. And that's just not fair, because I think it's really cute. But they fit exactly the same, or they're the exact same measurement in the bust and down the side body, and yet they fit totally differently. And I'm not entirely sure if I like how this oatmeal sweater is fitting lengthwise in the body. It's okay that it's a little bit tighter in the bust, or fits a little bit tighter in the bust, even though it's the exact same measurement, which does not make any sense to me at all. But depending on how I decide to wear this sweater versus the unnamed sweater going forward, I may also need to lengthen the body a little bit, which is a bit of a daunting process. It just means going in, throwing in a couple lifelines, a few rows apart, cutting my knitting, unraveling one of the rows, re-knitting an inch or two. But there's still something a little frightening about cutting your finished project. It's like, oh, I'm cutting my baby and I don't want to do that. But if it means that I'm not going to wear it, I'm not going to grab it, then I'll do that. I'll make the decision and I'll take the plunge and I'll knit it, or I'll cut it, and maybe it goes to someone else if I have to rework it. But so that's that project. So I'm actually very happy that I did finish it. I think it will be a very lovely sweater for when it gets cooler. Again, as soon as I finished that sweater, and it was perfect fall sweater weather, you want to be wrapped up in a cozy blanket with a cup of coffee all the time. And then I finished it, and I finished my tubular bind off on the last cuff, and then it was 26. But that just seems to be the way of the world. Second thing that I have finished, and it's not really a full finished object, it is half of a finished object pair. Where'd it go? Just a second. Is this? It's my Midsummer Blossom sock. I am so happy with how this has turned out. It is an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous pattern by HandmadesbyOlivia on Etsy, with this really gorgeous lace pattern. And I will admit there are definitely some issues in the lace in the first 3 sets of repeats. I don't know why I do this to myself. I haven't done lace in such a long time, besides my eyelet lace. And yeah, I just was like, I'm gonna do this kind of complicated looking lace on sock weight yarn because that's a good idea. But it turned out beautifully. I really love this sock. I really need to cast on the second sock because I need this as a pair. But I was trying really hard to focus on getting the oatmeal sweater done so that I could wear it. And hopefully I will not need to do the body. But yeah, so this is half of one of the finished objects. This is, as I said in the previous episode, done in the color Laurel by Millamia. It's a Millamia sock yarn. I believe that's the company. I could be wrong. That's what it says on the band. And the pattern has you do a heel flap, and I don't like heel flaps. I'm pretty particular about certain things when it comes to knitting. I don't like knitting them. I don't like really the way that they fit my foot. So I did a boomerang or short row style heel instead, which I find to be much, much easier. This pattern comes in 2 sizes with 2 variations. The other variation, so this one's the anklet. The other variation has quite a bit more leg for people who like that. And it is a stockinette body with lace, this lace all the way around the cuff. So it would be ribbing, a section of lace, and then a stockinette body. And this, the version that is shown in the pictures is striped, but I don't think you need to do that. It is very, very cute, but I don't know, maybe we'll see. I think after I finish this pair of socks, I'm gonna have to cast on another pattern by this lovely person. I want to say lady, but that is not inclusive, and it's not good. So the lovely maker, the lovely designer, definitely need more of these socks in my life. I'm not going to show you my asymmetrical shawl. I haven't really made a whole lot of progress on that. It is the never-ending shawl. I had knit quite a bit of length, got pretty close to within 30 stitches of what I had projected to be the total live edge count, and I went to go measure out how much yarn I had left, and I still had 50 grams of a 100-gram ball. And I know that asymmetrical shawls, they grow and they get larger at the end, but oh my gosh, I was like, oh, I've been knitting on this forever, I've got to be really close, I'm only within 30 stitches of my projected total cast off length. No, I've got so much left. And as much as I love the shawl, I love how it's turning out, I am going to adore it when it is done. Again, kind of lost my mojo. I'm just not feeling it right now. But that's why we take a step away, leave it alone for a little while. You don't want to force yourself to knit a project that you love and are potentially going to not love, not unless it's Christmas and you really need to get stuff out. But because it's for me, I'm just gonna let it cool down, or we're gonna take a little time apart, and I'm gonna come back refreshed and energized and just raring to go. So unfortunately, that is just kind of in limbo at the moment. I have one new yarn acquisition. Why is that such a hard word for me this morning? I do have one new yarn acquisition to show you, which is kind of funny. It is this absolutely gorgeous sock weight yarn. I believe the company is Alegria, and I bought this before I kind of hit my slump, and with every intention of knitting this into an absolutely gorgeous shawl, and I still have that intention, but it's gonna be sitting around in my stash for a little while, and that's just how it is. But it's just gorgeous. I love these colors. I don't wear a lot of yellow. I don't think it looks good on me, but I think having the yellow in with all of these other very natural colors will give it a little bit of a pop without being overwhelming against my skin tone. This is 75% merino superwash, 25% polyamide, so it would make a really good sock yarn, which I think is what it's intended for. And I love this inside. It's just the artist's name, where it was dyed. So it's a hand dyed yarn, art yarn, and it's just gorgeous. And I will make a shawl out of this, just not for a little while. All right, so a little bit of a shorter one today. Hopefully I have a little bit more to show you next time. I do have quite a few things in mind, things that I want to start throwing the needles today, and there's so much to knit and not enough time to do it. So if you like this video, Please like and subscribe. If you have any comments, good feedback, not so good feedback, names for the unnamed sweater, I would love to hear them. Please be gentle. But constructive criticism is always welcome. Yeah, so I hope you have a lovely day. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye. Definitely need coffee in the morning.